Welcome to the Behind the Vision podcast. In this episode with Alex, we explore his start in the food industry, opening a restaurant during the most challenging time possibly ever, and his pulse on the local comedy scene. Hope you enjoy the show. To kick things off, have a question from Devin Winter. Second favorite fruit after avocados.
Ooh, so, I can't even say that avocado. No. I was actually looking at them over there. It's definitely bananas. I'm a big banana person. Somebody told me that they're subsidized, which I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I think at Costco they're $1.29 for, comes out to like 30 or 40 cents a pound. Their versatility, chop them up, throw them in some oatmeal, put them in a smoothie. We put a full banana in every single one of our smoothies, creates a great texture, great flavor. You dip them in chocolate. You can rip them off the bunch, and they have like their own to-go, like natural to-go packaging. And then fun fact about that nobody asked for, like fun fact about fruits is, they come out with this list called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 each year. And that's basically like which foods do not need to be organic and they're still like high quality. And generally fruits that are enclosed, like avocado is usually the number one on the Clean 15, but bananas too. Like they're very well, protected from the outside.
They're a great fruit. Would you ever start a restaurant around bananas?
Have you seen Arrested Development? They have like the banana stand.
No.
Okay, it's an old show. Okay, so they had a banana stand. If avocados actually got banned, I may consider starting a banana-centered restaurant, but probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, that would be cool. It would maybe be a little challenging. I mean, you'd probably be pretty good with smoothies, some dishes. You can make some like smoothie bowls, but when it comes to like lunch and dinner, it might be a little tough.
It'd have to be a cafe. You got the business mind churning a little bit. I'm actually like, you probably could do a banana centered concept and put it like in like a cafe setting. Like you're open like, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. or breakfast and lunch and smoothies, bowls. Yeah, that actually might. Yeah. Desserts.
You could maybe buy Graze out and just put in a bunch of fruit stands in there.
Literally, each spot is a different. What else you could do? Beets. You could probably do a beet one. That'd be so limited though. Nothing as versatile as the avocado.
Yeah, avocado, banana. Those would be cool.
Apple.
Yeah. You could also maybe have a side stand selling Apple products. You could also venture into the electronics.
You could twist it around a little bit. Yeah. Or you could have a cidery in there, like an apple. Yeah. This is actually not a bad. We might be onto something right now with this.
If you move down to Texas, it's an option.
Yeah. Start something new.
Yeah. That'd be sick, but... So you opened a restaurant at possibly the most challenging time, which was during the pandemic in Dinkytown, right?
Yeah.
Looking back now, would you do that again? And were there any lessons or learnings that you can pull from it?
No, that's a good question. It was probably the worst time and the worst city to open up a restaurant during the pandemic. And we opened up the Dinkytown location. It was June 26, 2020. And originally it was going to be like the end of March. And so everything got completely put on standstill. And then we had the unrest and in May. And so there was just like really no excitement in the city at all. Would I do it again? That's a tough question. So Dinkytown's like not even open anymore. So if somebody if an accountant or somebody in finance was looking at it, they'd be like, you lost this amount of money. No, you would never do that. But at the same time, because you brought up, the idea of like lessons, I feel like I learned so much doing that. Like the location that we have in North Loop, it's a plug and play. The kitchen space was already built out. The permitting was already done. It literally just took like 3 days to like move into and plug into. Where the Dickeytown location, I worked with an architect. I worked with general contractors. I worked with a equipment company. I had to do all the permitting and licensing with the city, the SBA loan, all the stuff. It was like 101 on a bunch of different things. And so I feel like, knowing that I'm in it, I feel like I'm going to be in it for the long game, that there was like a lot of like really good lessons in that failure. And I think kind of the wisdom I took away from it was, it's the same, we were talking about the open mic. It's the idea of like, the only thing, it's really important for me to have an open mind when I'm approaching something, that the original idea is going to change so much and it's not going to go according to plan. Where before we opened up the Dickeytown location, I was like, this is a sure thing. This is like, I have it all planned out. This is what it's going to look like. And literally nothing went to plan there. And Dickeytown during the summer, that first few months of COVID, we were forced to start our lease. And so like we were the only spot opened up in a 10-unit food hall. So it was like it was almost like partially a construction zone still. And so, yeah, it was not good. Like,
what was just business day to day like during that time?
Man, a lot of double clicking. That's what one of my friends calls making mistakes, is like, it's your double click. And, all the dumb shit, like making a 50 avocado batch of guac and then having to throw away all of it the next day. It's torture. I mean, we had some days where we never would have like 0 orders, but we had some days where we were literally doing like 15 orders for the entire 10-hour day. And so you're just sitting inside and you're looking at how nice it is outside and there's nobody around. And so not good. September, the students came back and we had this like couple of months where things seemed to be moving up in the right direction. But then you head straight back into winter. At the U, you have a winter break, you have a summer break. So you're already looking at like 4 months where there's not a lot of people on campus. And then we went back into a lockdown. And so it was just like, it started to gain a little bit of momentum and then it just teetered off again. And yeah, it was honestly not, that was probably the lowest point. I planned it for like a year and a half before we even opened. And so if I look at, so when I think about the timeline of the business, it extends like back a lot farther than starting at Dickeytown. But that was definitely probably the lowest point of the business right there.
Yeah. Where did the idea of, so your restaurant is Avocadish, where did the concept for that kind of come from?
Oh man. So I used to give this like this like really cooler answer, or like, I don't even know I don't even remember what it was. The honest truth is I was in my apartment in Kansas City and I'd been working this corporate job for a couple of years and it was like a good company, but it was not for me. And I just recognized some things, even the most positive person in the office, and this was not a lot of like fun. This was like not really like a fun type of business. And I feel bad because I feel like potentially people who still work there might listen to this, but it was food service packaging. And, to me, if we were on like a call and like somebody is getting really excited about like plastic forks, like I was like, this is weird. Like, that's weird. Like, I can't get excited about plastic forks and, working ops, logistics. There's some good learning experiences. It's a learning experience to walk in and have like 100 unread emails and have to be a drone and reply to all of them. But even the most positive people, and it was in Kansas City. It was a very friendly, nice people. Even the most positive people, they still hated Monday and worshipped Friday. And it just got me thinking. I just get these weird thoughts while I was working. I was like, am I weird for thinking this? But it's like, what are we all doing here 5 days out of 7 days if like we don't want to be doing this? So the original motivation of opening up a business was to do my own thing. And I think to me, someone asked, what is success? They're probably hot. They're hot. It was a couple nights ago. And I was just like, for me, it's like, I get to spend my time doing what I want to be doing. Like that's kind of success. And so, then I was in my apartment and you talked about the idea of an avocado restaurant. And honestly, I saw this, I lived in Phoenix too. And this girl that I used to do yoga with in Phoenix posted a video of this Avocadoria, which is an avocado bar in New York City that had a couple locations. And I was eating avocados like breakfast and dinner at that time. And so I was on a little bit of an avocado kick. I probably ate more than I even do now. And I don't eat my food all the time because then it keeps it magical. It's a little side note. So
you don't eat your food at your restaurant?
I do, but not all the time.
Yeah, I get that. You got to change it up.
Yeah.
Else you just eat it all the time and don't try anything new. Because if you try new things, you can get ideas for what you do in your restaurant.
And it's nice to work and to have a restaurant in a place where there's like a lot of other restaurants too, because then I can just kind of rotate around. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this girl posted a video on Facebook that it was like 35 million views, and it's about this avocado restaurant in New York. And I did some more research, and I saw that they had won Shark Tank, and like they were backed by Mark Cuban. And I was like, it's a great idea. Started doing a lot of research, and then I saw the trends of avocados. And so I saw that in their consumption in the U.S. had doubled from 2012 to 2018, and it was projected to double again over like the next 10 years. And then I had access, given I was in a food service company, I had access to some databases. And so there's this one database where you can look at the historic growth of certain foods. And so like the Caesar salad is a great example. The Caesar salad is like a staple. It's like it's in like 35 or 30% of all restaurants, and it's had like a very flat line but consistent trajectory of like the demand and what percentage of restaurants it's in. And then I saw avocado toast. And avocado toast at that time was in like 2% of restaurants, but its trend literally looked like, shooting off into the heavens. So it was a star. Mm-hmm. And so I did some more research with that. I did more research about healthy foods, just like the trend of healthy foods, the trend of, different markets, the higher someone's, generally people who are better off, or the higher someone's income, the less, and I know it's contrary to some of the book I saw right there, and I'm a meat eater, I had steak for lunch, but like the higher someone's income, the less protein they'll consume, or the more, not necessarily, it is less protein, but it's more being like health conscious, you could say. And so these dots just started kind of coming together, and I jumped into it. And so
nice. A little bit of market research, a little Edward Snowden action, hacking into the databases.
Yeah. Even after I left that job, my friend would like give me his login so I could kind of sneak back in there, take a little peek. I don't have access to it anymore, but some good stuff.
I mean, that's cool. You've been in the food industry kind of since you got out of college, like first job type of thing?
No, so like I was a server. I worked as a server and bartender all throughout school, even before I went to college.
wow.
And so, I had a goal of not having any student debt. And so I started at like a community college, and I transferred to the U, and I would like work, go to school. Sometimes it was more work than school. Saved up some money. Then by the time I got to the U, that savings account just like completely tanked. But I always had like pretty good exposure to restaurants and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you still enjoy the food industry, or is it kind of like it is what it is now?
Where I'm at right now at Gray's, I love it. Like I mean, I'll be there until I was there until probably 2 a.m. last night. I'm on 4 hours of sleep. Energy's a little low today. And I'll be clean. I'll be washing dishes, sweeping, wiping, building people's bowls. And some of it is a challenge. Like I can't fake a smile anymore. So, customer facing, I try to keep it like, very polite, but like seeing constant people, that can get, if I'm feeling a little fatigued, that part can get a little hard. Mm-hmm. But no, I love it. And like, I also feel, I know restaurant owners who are more hands off, and maybe they've earned that spot. But like to me, I feel like I'm still putting in, because I had one of my friends is like, it'll be nice when hopefully the business is doing well enough where you don't have to be working shifts. And to me, it's like, I still need to put in my 10,000 hours. Like I got to be on the ground. I got to be on the front lines to like understand, what people want. You could have like one interaction with one guest that like connects these dots of like things that you were seeing before about what's working and like, what's not working. And so I told myself it's, a 5-year minimum. That's where my head's at,
Nice.
Right now with that.
Yeah. 2 a.m. Dang. Is your spot open till 2 a.m.?
No, it closes usually like technically 8. I'll keep it open. I'll keep the gate open and like get the tricklers, people coming in and scoop up some extra sales. But no, it closes at 8, and I usually just I'll hang around and just try to make sure everything's perfect for the next day or yeah.
Would you say those long nights are pretty consistent for you, or does it just vary on how busy the day was?
No, that's a good question. Like I would say it's less to do with how busy the day is. I would say if the day's busier, I'm probably going to be there later, like as a general rule of thumb. For me, it all comes down to like personal motivation. And so like right now I'm at like, for the last few months, time right now is just like, it melts. But let's call it 3 or 4 months. I've been like on it, but like my motivation ebbs and flows. So like I've had some lower points of motivation even while having the restaurant open. I mean, there's one point like where I had no right to even be doing this in like probably the spring of 2021, where I almost took myself off the schedule, and my motivation just wasn't at the place that it needed to be right there. And knowing myself, like right now, I'm like, oh, that'll never happen again, but it'll probably happen again at some point. And so, but then it comes back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's just ebbing and flowing.
It's definitely
motivation levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't be motivated, 110% all the time. It always has to flow kind of. I did want to go back to when you said that you did have a spot in Dinkytown, which is where like all the college students hang out.
Yeah.
Like, was it hard for you to make that transition, shut something down that you like started? I could only imagine like you having created your own thing that had to been pretty difficult for you.
I would have I honestly would have thought that exact same thing, but like by the time it happened, because we were open there for over a year, so like it was like June 2020 to October of 21, so almost a year and a half. By the time it got to that point, I was relieved. Like, there was a point, I went to visit my dad in Greece over the summer, and that was, it felt like a sacrifice. It sounds stupid because I was in Greece for an entire month, but like I had to go see him, but I also had 2 open restaurants during the busier part of it. And we had a couple people quit. One of them was like a GM. And so Dinkytown ended up being closed for like 6 weeks. And that's like waking up every single day down $200. And start losing enough money or not seeing consistent growth trends, or there's some issues with the management too. By the time it closed, like I felt relieved. And then it's like you spent so much time on something and then it slips out. But Graze feels like the V2, so it feels like it felt like leveling up a little bit, where I would not have been able to. I shouldn't say even it's like I got some great people. Would not have been able to accomplish what we did at Graze if it weren't for Dinkytown. So
it's kind of like your launch pad.
Yeah.
To help you, and I suppose you having the Graze location just helped you a lot transitioning from, moving out of Dinkytown into Graze, because you had this other location. Probably would have been a whole different story if you were closing Dinkytown and didn't have anything else.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, for sure. And I mean, to be fair to Dinkytown, I guess if there wasn't Graze going on, I probably would have pushed it a lot harder. But yeah, I do look at it as like a stepping stone, and it goes to show, like I talk about the research element, and I had like a market analysis where I ranked like all of the neighborhoods in the St. Paul and Minneapolis of like where the best spot to open up a avocado bar that leverages more whole natural ingredients, and number 1 on the list was North Loop. And Dinkytown, I think it cracked, maybe it's like number 7 or number 8. But at the time, that was like the only viable spot I knew I wanted to do food halls. Even before COVID, the whole vision was food halls and like ghost kitchens. And so I knew that I wanted like a lean communal space where you're just responsible for like your little 300 square feet, and there's a common area and there's other vendors and you're in the spot. And so I didn't trust, where I looking back on it, and I don't really sit on mistakes, but too much, because what do you do? But I didn't trust the research. I rushed it a little bit, got a little impatient, and was like plugged in, and turned out to be the wrong choice. But yeah, North Loop, it feels like the concept fits like a lot better like in this neighborhood.
Yeah,
so.
I'd agree. It's a great spot.
Yeah. Oh, it's cool. I mean, we got and the vibe in Graze is awesome, because you have, you're a little north of the city, so you obviously have like North Loop. You're still just a mile away from Northeast, downtown West, North Minneapolis, and it just creates this great crowd. It's younger, it's diverse, but it's such a good collective energy in the building, and the owners do like a very good job. Graze, they privately own the bars, and then they lease out the spaces for the kitchen. And so what that does is it creates a collective where everybody's working together and everyone has incentive to get people in the door, including the owners. Where in Dinkytown, they didn't have any stake other than collecting rent. And so it didn't create like that mutual incentive to get people, to feel like that more team feel. They just wanted you to pay your rent. You paid your rent. They just, hope everything's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, nope.
Yeah, it's nice being in that like collective space, especially if you do launch new restaurants, because like one restaurant might get people there and then they might see your spot and then they're like, oh, I'm going to go check that out next time. So like being able to launch like not super well-known established restaurants already in like those smaller spaces where you can get more people to come to, it's a good move, I think.
Was literally just talking about that to my mom earlier today because she's visiting from Seattle. Hello, Mom, if she watches this. But yeah, no, 100%. Like we just had next door to us, Union, which I highly recommend. I've been eating there 5 days a week recently. It's Hmong food, and it has a huge following. They just had a camera crew there today filming something. The chef is gonna be he's or the concept. It's like a James Beard nominee. He's gonna be on the Iron Chef the next season, or people say that. I'm not even sure if I think it's true. But they're very popular, and they bring in their following. But you hit the nail on the head. Like, then one day they're going there for the third time in the week, and they look over and they're like, maybe I'll get some of that avocado pudding. That looks kind of good too. Yeah. And then same with Soul Bowl. Soul Bowl's in there. Gerard and Brittany, husband and wife team, killers. They own Bad Wings downstairs. They have 2 of the concepts out of the 6. They have a strong local following. But then, all of the concepts, like followers, start branching off into the other concepts, and it's good for everybody. Mm-hmm. And that's why I always want. And I've seen, like, we're on the first floor. There's 4 other places down there, and I watched every single one turn the first, 10 months that we were in there. And so that was also hard to see. Like, people who were in Grays weren't susceptible to COVID. A lot of challenges. We were locked, the lockdown last year. But it's been more on the up and up. And it's just it's a collective, team feel. And to be in a room, I'm sure it's being good friends with Devin or, it's nice to be around entrepreneurs or to be around creatives or whatever it is, and you bounce ideas off with the other owners, and everyone's working together, and everybody wants everybody else to be successful.
Do you all meet together at all?
Yep, had a meeting this morning. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you all just meet. Do you ever meet and just chat about different ideas? Do you collaborate with other restaurants in there much?
Yeah. So there's some that are more formal. This is a vendor meeting that we do bi-weekly where it's the marketing director, the GM, the owners, and that's more formal. It's these are the upcoming events. This is going to be the schedule. This is what we need. And then we'll just discuss things about common area dishes or whatever it is. But then I would say the more bouncing ideas that's the more informal, hey, what's up, Sean? Walk by the other person's place and then just start talking shop. Or I mentioned Gerard and Soul Bowl, and I would consider him almost like the restaurant mentor. He had a background, a corporate background at Crave for 10 years. He was the Gray's GM for a while he was owning these restaurants. He honestly makes it look easy. And I saw some former people who were in the building who seemed to kind of I think it's easy for people to naturally just hate on somebody else's success. But no. And then with this guy especially, he's literally willing to tell you his playbook. He's not holding secrets and being weird or competitive. He's this is exactly, I'm what about catering? Hey, what about sides or how to increase your KPI or whatever it is. He's you can tell he's telling you everything he knows, super supportive. And that's why he's successful is so.
That's awesome. You have that community at Gray's where you can go to for ideas, and you already have that restaurant community there for you to utilize. Looking out in the future in the next few years, where would you like to see Avocadish go?
Well, so for the short term, I'm not gonna take any huge risks. Which basically means I'm not gonna open up any more independent locations that I would be in charge of, or my team and I would be in charge of building it from the ground up, staffing, operations, purchasing ingredients, equipment, everything like that. I would look to expand to like, stadiums. We were going to be in, it fell through because the company didn't get a new contract, but we were going to be in Carlson in September, but it fell through. But like in those type of situations, you just like, you're basically licensing. You build it out, you set it up, but then you're not running like the day-to-day like operations. You're not ordering the avocados and things like that. Because I don't want to get, at this point, I've noticed just having the one location too at Gray's, it's like I'd rather build out like one really solid like proof of concept than try to expand and then spread it out thin and then not have it worked out. And then just taking it, and then to that question though, and then the other part of me is like, and I honestly, I don't even know what's going to happen in the next few years. Like anything I've learned from COVID or avocado bans or whatever the thing might be is like, I literally have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, the stadium idea would be cool. I mean, even when you go to like US Bank Stadium and Twin Stadium, I mean, there's your typical food options, which are like hot dogs, chicken strips, burgers, sandwiches, stuff like that. But there's not a whole lot on like the healthy side. And, if you look at Minneapolis is a pretty healthy city, and factoring in that there's probably a lot of people that go to these games that are probably like looking for healthier options than that. I think that'd be like a cool move to make to see how it does.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also nice because you could just be like, we're a guac stand, or we're a guac and avocado toast, or like, we're guac toast and smoothies. And so you can also I like the idea of making, situations where you can scale down, like, making the concept smaller and more efficient. And, that's what the hardest part I've had is like, me and my GM and other people on the team, we all have like so many ideas, and it's almost like where to put the ideas, don't make things too complicated, like keeping it more simple, finding out like what are the strong points and leveraging those, and then extracting the weak stuff or the stuff on the menu that's not doing as well, or that ingredient that takes too long to prep, or like whatever the case might be. So that's been it's been a whole learning experience. And I mean, so many mistakes. I mean, so many mistakes along the way.
What's like the biggest mistake that you feel like you've made?
It's hard not just to go with opening Dinky Town.
We already talked about that.
I know.
All right, number 2.
Installing the pop open window like 3 months before we closed would have been a pretty costly mistake. Not good. Yeah, I can't, like, honestly, I can't. That one is so glaring to me. It's like really hard to, so I'm still paying for that one.
We're still playing for Dinky Town?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I will be for, that's it. Oh yeah. Big loss. Wow. So that one is not fun. But I mean, I don't want to sound like a motivational speaker, because I'm certainly not, but I mean, what's a mistake? So many bad and good things happen day to day, where like my human mind, or like myself, and I'm very self-critical too, where I can be like, why would I do that? And I just label things that happen. That's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad. But it's really just, I'm sorry, I should really be silencing this. And it is the,
you're good.
Had a pop, but it's calm. We're good. I label things good or bad. And then what I find is like, it usually just creates a type of energy, and then it's my job on how I'm going to use that energy moving forward. Like, am I going to level up? Am I going to evolve and make better decisions the next time? Because I found like when I sitting in a mistake doesn't serve much of a purpose. And then some of the worst things that happen, they turn into like like what I think. You know, I had a final interview at Target to move back to the Twin Cities. I wanted to come back to Minneapolis, love Minneapolis, and I didn't get the job. Final interview, it was crushing. I was an inventory analyst working like half my time in the office, half time in a warehouse, wearing Walmart steel toe shoes, just hated working there. And I just remember getting the call that I didn't get the job, like literally while surrounded by corrugate. And like, I thought she called and she was very nice to start the conversation. It's like, oh, yes, I got this. And she's like, yeah, sorry, no. And if you would have told me like that year, like that was devastating. Like that was awful. Like I felt pretty depressed for like a couple of weeks, but I'm so glad I didn't get that job, because then this all wouldn't have happened. And so, yeah, that's
just gotta keep going.
Yeah. Hold forward. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What would you say it takes to like start a restaurant in 2022?
I'd say don't do it. No. Yeah, I don't, I mean, I think with just businesses in general, you really have to be, you have to be all in. It's kind of just like but I haven't been all in on all the things that I do, and then, you build up. But yeah, just being all in with restaurants specifically, like you have to be, especially to get off the ground. I mean, you have to be willing to sweep the floors, wash the dishes, take out the trash. I don't even think my staff takes out the recycling. I always take out the recycling. But I don't mind. Like I actually, like, I'd rather be doing that than responding to 100 emails at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I love that mentality. Just like, if you open up something, you just gotta be willing to do everything it is to like keep it going.
And the nice thing about working at a restaurant versus like working that office job for me too was like, I don't reply to an email on Tuesday. It's not like that thing just gets like swallowed up into the abyss and is not waiting for me Wednesday morning. Like everything overlaps with each other day by day. And for me, it's like in a restaurant, you close that gate, whatever happened that day, it's pretty much, that's done. Tomorrow's a new day. Yeah. It's nice. It's like you refresh every 24 hours. Yeah.
Like, is there any recommendations if someone does have like a restaurant idea, just in like the food industry as well? Like maybe things that they should do to try to at least like verify it, so they don't like hop in, spend a ton of money, and then end up regretting it in the future?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think there's like a lot more versatile options now, where like, 20 years ago, you're opening up a restaurant, you're leasing the space, you're buying all the equipment, you're buying the tables and the chairs, it's pretty much boom or bankrupt, like make it or not. Now there's a lot more options. Like you can do, like we did pop-ups. So like you can partner with like a Core Power or, do events at whatever your food makes sense in. You can lease out a commercial space and do catering, and you can do food tastings with your friends and get feedback. So you could even do like a food truck. That's still going to be a costly investment, but not crazy. And so there's a lot more versatility now, where you don't have to invest as much money. And then following the trends, like with COVID's taken the cap off, but pretty much all of the trends that COVID magnified were already in play. People want convenience. They want options to personalize. They want a wide variety of dietary options. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but it seems like steakhouses now have vegan options, So following the trends of the consumer is really important. And then the thought that I always go back to, I feel like when I'm talking, I'm talking some strategy with some friends or some of my employees, it's like the idea, I can't be attached to like any of my ideas because they may not be, maybe they're wrong, or maybe they're not the right idea for this time. And so like my willingness to not be attached to ideas and then make decisions based upon that idea. And honestly, at some points, like just throwing out the playbook, like, okay, this is not working. Yeah, gotta switch it up and do something else.
Yeah, that's an important thing you brought up, just not being so attached to your ideas, because if you have an awful idea and you just keep going with it and beating it into the ground, but it actually doesn't like get you anywhere, like that's hard. That's tough.
Dinky Town. If I look at it, like I literally should have closed Dinky Town. Like I look at it now. It's funny you say like, yeah, how did you feel? And that was insane. Like for me to have kept it open, like the extra, it should have been probably closed 10 months, a year before what it was. And because I had, if you take the Econ 101 class, sunken costs, because I invested not only money, but so much time into it, I didn't want to let it go. And that was making a basically attached to my idea, attached to my investment, and not actually being able to see, the writing on the wall. And I had friends who said, like, you kind of wanted to, have almost like the business intervention, and it wouldn't even matter if they told me everything that I needed to hear and it was the truth. Like I would not have been able to see it and make that decision. But then when it happened, it was like literally within it felt like it was overnight. I was like, I woke up one morning, I was like, oh, I got to close it. Damn, and then
Someday you can bring the grandkids back there and tell them how you started.
I don't think that place will be okay. But the decal's still up, so there's still a huge graphic decal that says Avocadish, and the occasional time, I'm driving down, driving in Diggytown. I'm just like, a little tear comes down. I'm just like, R.I.P., R.I.P. And I just look at that $5,000 pop open window, and I'm like, pop open window. Oh, it's so dumb, man. Like I literally installed that like after I should have closed the entire thing. Yeah, it's just but what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah. One thing that you created seems like maybe 1-2 years ago was 10K meals. Is that something that you're still doing, or is it just during the pandemic?
Yeah, that was during the pandemic, and I was actually just talking to somebody how I feel like I want to continue. I don't know if it'd be that exact same thing, but something like that. We never even got to 10K. We got to like maybe 3,000 or something.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, and it was cool. Like, I mean, and shout out to Devin he did like a video for us. He had like a little LinkedIn competition.
Yeah, shout out to Devin.
What's up, Devin? And so, great guy, by the way. Great guy. Sharp guy. But yeah, so that was like a pivot. I mean, I was just freaking out. Like we were literally the week before COVID. It was like the hype. It was like the peak excitement and everything. Filming a final video Shark Tank audition. We were about to open. Like everything was exciting. To get everything just sucked away with all the uncertainty. So then I'm sitting there with like all the time in the world, twiddling my thumbs, like, what are we going to do now? And there was an element of it of wanting to like test the Avocadish machine and then just do something. I mean, I think that's what good entrepreneurship, you're creating value, you're getting value, they're like other people are getting value. And so, wanted to do something that would be, positive impact on the community, and then also test our gears a little bit. So we partnered with a communal space in North Minneapolis and just started working out of there. Had, by the end of it, like over about 100 volunteers in total that partook in it. And what was really cool is like, there was meaning, like we get very nice messages from people that we were providing meals for that were super grateful, but then also the volunteers, like the people that were coming up to deliver the meals, the people that were coming to prep stuff. Like it was a lot of like restaurant workers that were out of jobs, or students, or other people twiddling their thumbs. And so like that had a lot of like good meaning for those people too. I bet Devin loved making our video. I bet that had a lot of good meaning for him. I don't.
He does like doing that stuff though, because you're helping other people and he's helping fuel that. And
yeah. And he did he was pro. He did a great job. And so it was a win-win, and it kept me busy. Like it kept me moving and kept me excited about something and kept me invested. And it was just kind of like, I felt good for whoever was involved. But then it came a point where we did it up until basically couldn't and had to open. And at that point, I couldn't split the time. I had to spend my time just sitting in an empty Dinkytown restaurant. And got to like test out. Yeah, it was just good. It got the Avocadish machine kind of moving, and but yeah, now recently I've been thinking about. I would like to. I don't know exactly what it would look like, but I'd like to do something more. I want to get back into something that's more community based again.
That'd be cool. Like I'd be down to help out. Like whether it's go there and help, or if you want me to like shout it out on the podcast for people like donate to. But it'd be cool if you did something like at Gray's, where it was maybe like the restaurant owners there chipped in, and like people could come to Gray's and like help pack food or whatever that looks like at the one place you're doing at the 10K that you created.
Yeah, I mean, well, and they do, there's always like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and actually Soul Bowl has been very active in like Thanksgiving and Christmas activities. And I felt like over this last year and a half or year, the back up against the wall, it's now or it's make or break. And then, unfortunately that can kind of put me into more of a selfish state of mind where I'm not thinking about those things. And so I think Gray's is a great platform or like spot to do it in. We did Gray's and Avocadish partnered with Back Pocket and Straight Candid over Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Did an event there. So there can always be like those singular events, and then if something could get going with something that's more longer term. Because like in the Twin Cities, there's a lot of food insecurity, or they call them like food deserts. And it's basically like big groups, or like a large population, I should say, that don't really have access to whole or fresh food. I mean, even when I moved to the east side of St. Paul, when I first moved to the Twin Cities, and like there was like the corner market, the nearest spot to like even get to a grocery store is like Sunray Plaza down 94, like 3.5 miles. And I had a car, so it wasn't too bad. But for people that are, say, taking the bus or whatever the case might be, it's not good situations, because then you basically have access to like processed food or prepackaged food and things like that. So
Yeah. It's important that like getting people whole food, like healthy food, just makes them feel better. And then, if they want to do other things in their life, it helps like fuel those activities too. Instead of just like being fed processed stuff, it's always not the best.
Tastes good. I mean, my diet's been a little like shit lately. So a burger can taste really good in the
Where you
short
getting
term.
burgers at?
Oh, I got them right there at Grace.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh, Fabled Rooster, shout out.
Oh, okay.
Great burger.
Okay.
Great burger. Well, yeah, and no, you're right. And like the other part of it too is a lot of people, they think of healthy food. They think of like a banana, handful of almonds, or like some barely cooked Brussels sprouts. But that's the thing. Is like if you can make healthy food taste really good, it can be a little mind-opening experience for people where they're like, oh, this can actually taste good. So there's like that part to it too, where nutritious and delicious.
Yeah. I think just some avocado and salt. If you like salt and you like avocados, just like that combo alone is pretty good.
100%.
Yeah.
Like some of like I'm like, what's my favorite way to eat an avocado? I'm like, man, sometimes it's just a little oil, a little salt, and a little pepper.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's a good combo.
Yeah.
Maybe put an egg on there.
Ooh.
There
we go.
Yeah. Should have brought you dinner.
No, dude, it's all good. Yeah. It's all good. I'll be there. I did want to talk a little bit about comedy because you have been diving in the scene a little bit in Minneapolis. You started that like about a month ago.
Yeah, like 6 weeks pretty much.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And like I've seen some videos just from Devin. You're doing like really good, and I enjoy comedy as well. Like, what kind of interests you to start doing comedy?
Yeah, well, we talked about Kill Tony, so that was, and then like basically I've noticed all of my podcasts now, most of them are just like comedians podcasts, but they also talk. I mean, there's always hints of truth in comedy, or there can be hints of truth in comedy, and so it seems to me with podcasting, it seems to me to be like almost the last terrain of like free speech in a sense, where you have to say something while laughing to be able to say some to make some points. And so really been enjoying comedians podcasts. And then, the jump though was just like, it was very impulsive and random. I was just like working a night at Gray's and I looked up, open mic comedy Minneapolis. I did some generic Google search, and then I saw like there are multiple open mics every single night of the week within like probably 2 square miles of right here, which is in North Loop, like Northeast, downtown, like just all over. And so I took a plunge and went to a Monday night at Moose Bar. Shout out to John. He's the open mic comic there. And instantly it just made complete sense. I was like, I was looking for something more than just the business and work. And so the sense of community, seeing the same people show up every night, like in it, and it's not really just all about going up and trying to get laughs. It's like all the conversations in between those times it's so much fun. And then a creative outlet. It's actually been really cool. I feel like it's lifted, and I wouldn't ever. I'm not like a punch a hole in the wall angry person, but like there's some I was dealing, I think, with some underlying anger, just like frustrations or lack of patience, whatever the case might be. And I feel like it's lifted like a lot of that, because now whenever something happens during the day that's absurd or an inconvenience or whatever it is, you're like thinking about how it can be like a bit. You're like, this is, how do I make this funny? Like this is funny. And so it's been cool. Just as it's kind of cleared out, I feel like some rust or some build up, and now I feel like the creative mind is like functioning better. And that's just hard. It's so hard. Like, it's so hard to get laughs. It's so easy to bomb, literally bomb 80% of the time. And so just doing something that seems so unnatural, like, is like, why would I want to go up on stage and try to be funny and then not be funny? It's a big challenge, but when you bomb, it makes you like want to go up twice as hard the next time to do well. So then keeps you come. I think bombing keeps you coming back more than doing
like,
well.
I almost got him.
Yeah,
I almost got him to laugh.
Next time, next week, tomorrow. Yeah.
No, it seems like something that's like really hard to do. Like, there's multiple factors in that. One, you have to have some like funny material that you have to probably have like pre-thought of. Two, you have to be cool with standing up and public speaking, which a lot of people would rather die than be public speaking,
Yeah.
I would say those are like two really challenging things that come with stand-up comedy.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some comics here that will completely improvise their entire set, and they somehow find a way to make it work. But yeah, it is not. Yeah, it's, and it being funny. Like, I have a lot of friends who are really funny, but like being funny and appreciating humor and then doing stand-up, vice versa, are like completely. They're like two different animals. Where like it's a. And then some people, I think, that have like a lot of stage fear, stage fright, and they just like look down and they speak into they find a way to be funny too, because like they just like, people enjoy so many different styles, or it's pretty endless. So you have to come out.
Yeah.
You got to come out and do a set.
Yeah. Well, so is the Grays official?
Yeah. So yep. Yeah, so starting March 27th, there'll be an open mic at Gray's. Probably start at like 4 or 5 p.m. And anybody can come and sign up and get up there for a few minutes and let it rip. So
sick.
Yeah.
I will probably sign up at some point. I think I'm going to go there, feel it out a little bit, work on my material a little bit.
Yeah. I'll get you. You're going to go there thinking you're going to spectate, and you're like, my name's on the list.
Nah, dude, I'm not coming back.
That's how it started with me. I did not think. I was literally like, I'm going to go dip my toes in the water. And then the guy, I was chit-chatting with the guy, and he's just like, John, he's just like, oh, there's a 30-second lightning round. I'm going to get you on there. And I'm like, no. Shoot. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, maybe.
It's usually, I think that's how it goes for people. Yeah.
But, no, that's cool. I'm pumped for that.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
So the nice thing is, for anybody who's never done an open mic or comedy or checked it out, if it's your first time, like, you're almost guaranteed to get on. So like, I can still get on the loose, like, everybody just put your name on this big list at a bar, throw you up. But like, the first time I went to Acme, I got on. The first time I went to Corner Bar, the Comedy Underground, I got on. The first time I went to Sisyphus Brewery, they have like a cool comedy room, you get on. Now, I haven't gotten on those places ever since the first week, because you put a little star next to your name, and if it's your first time, they'll get you up there. So that's a lot of fun, because like, if you're in a club setting, like, people are like watching, they're there to have a good time, and they're not all comedians, because myself included, comedians are the worst audience members. People just want to laugh and have a good time, and just like see somebody willing to get up on stage. And like, that's like, I think people, it's like, myself included, like, if somebody gets up on stage and they go up regularly, I'm like, I think I find those people the funniest, because like, it's funny to watch somebody just try or bomb. Yeah. Bombing's also like, it's fun to watch, not fun to be on stage while you're doing it all the time, but
especially if it's your first time, that's be tough.
It's funny. I feel like if somebody goes up and says it's their, I milked that for like 2 weeks. This is my first time. This is my second time. This is my third time. This is my 8th time. I feel like I had to stop after like 10. But like, I feel like I never see people up for their first time do bad, because everyone is just like, encouraging, and it's just fun. It's like so fun to watch somebody on stage for like the first time, or even if it's like the first, first few times. It's like, people like, I saw somebody last night, 18-year-old kid from Mankato. It's his first time, and he was like, he did have a great joke. He was like, he's like, give me 2 blunts and a buffalo chicken pizza and send me to Ukraine, and I can end this war. I can make peace, or something. I was dying. It was like, it's his first time, and yeah, that was actually. I was like, damn, that's like, I might, if you don't continue, I might steal that one. That's a good joke. But yeah, I feel like first timers just everyone's like very supportive and very cool. So
that's cool. What do you do to get over the fear of public speaking aspect?
I've been on the news in an avocado suit, and I feel like that kind of took away all the humiliation at one time. So yeah, I definitely feel like I have I really enjoyed public speaking. It's like I enjoyed that class in school. I still get nervous, I get nervous pretty much every single time I go on stage. For me, it's like the ability to turn the nervous energy into like a little bit of an adrenaline, and then focus it, and then, just try to like, who cares? Now, that doesn't always go. Like, there's some times where I'm about to get on stage and I'm like, oh man, like I'm so loose. Like, I feel I got this great set. Like, this is going to be great. And you just like get on stage, and you're all of a sudden like your mind just goes like, completely blank. And that part does kind of suck. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's insane, but like that just makes me want to like do it again, because I'm like, damn it, like I didn't get that. I didn't get that like good comic release up there. And then I think too, because man, I know a lot of like, and I'm like E&I, like I'm on the border of introvert extrovert, like on my personality test. It's like a 50-50, and but there's a lot of like introverted comics. Like there's a lot of people who are not that do not like public speaking, but they do it like, I don't know what the magic number is, but they do it a certain number of times, and then they grow a skin, and then I think in a weird way it just kind of becomes addicting a little bit. Like, do this. Jumping into the lake, it's literally the cold lake or whatever. I just think it's like breaking the seal and going up one time. I'm 34. It took me like years to even like consider, going on stage. And then I did it once, and then I was like, oh, it's really not. Sorry, it's really not that. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how do you come up with like material?
So unfortunately, a lot of the times it's while I'm driving. So I'll usually have to wait. When I'm being responsible, I'll wait until I get to a stop sign or stoplight. No, because I tried voice notes. Mm-hmm. Never go back and listen to those, and it's just like bad. Mm-hmm. So I like to have notes in my phone, and I pull out my phone, and I'm kind of joking about always coming up with while I'm driving, and so I'll plug it in, and man, it's more of I feel like for me it's like more of the state of mind I'm in than it is like what's happening around me. Like I could be like in an elevator in some random building, and then like think of something, think of a bit like in the elevator, and I'm in an elevator by myself. And then other times I feel like I could have like a circus around me and like all this crazy shit happening, and I wouldn't be able to think of anything. So, and then it's weird how that comes and goes. Like some days I'll feel like I'll write 10 jokes in a day, and then I feel like a week goes by and I can't think of like one thing. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just kind of comes to you when it comes to you. Yeah, I can't like think too hardly on them. I think. I mean, I know some comics probably like sit down and just start writing, but maybe that's when you get more advanced and you can kind of like start catching like frameworks and how to like write certain things. But that makes sense for sure.
Well, so that's an interesting point. There's like Joe Rogan. Bring up Joe Rogan. No, he talked about how he sits and writes, right? Like he has writing sessions, and then there's comics like Bill Burr that never writes anything down. He will like I write. I mean, I don't have like that. To me, that's like the most extreme level. Like I don't have writing sessions, but if I think of something, I don't want to forget it, and so I write it down. I hear Bill Burr like doesn't even do that. Like he just keeps it in his head, and then he'll work out the bit, and he'll be like on stage, and he'll be like a little bit different each time, and then that's how he rolls. And then there's like a George Carlin, who has some of the most like historic rants that seem so improvised, and I guess every word is rehearsed and like polished and written. So yeah, that's what makes it fun. Yeah, with that. So
sweet.
Do you ever write? Do you ever write Like, do you ever just like?
I wrote like a few things. Like I just use my notes app, like a few ideas.
Yeah.
That I have. I don't have a lot, but I'll be working on it if I ever get like ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the funnest part is like thinking of like a little premise and then writing it down, and that's all. I probably enjoy that more than I do even the actual stand up, because like then I feel like I observe the world like a little differently, a little bit more. I guess hopefully dry and dark, and can be a little funny sometimes.
Yeah.
But
when you write the jokes, you also probably intend for them to be like super funny to other people too. So like maybe when you write them, you're like, oh, this could be funny. So like every joke you write, you maybe think that like, oh, then with the intent of this being funny, like you already kind of get people to laugh because that's what you're thinking in your head. Like I just like could imagine this being funny.
That's a good. I'd say it's like 50. It's like 50-50. It's like I feel like I want to make like half the room uncomfortable and the other half of the room laugh.
Okay.
And I want to make like the people. A lot of times I feel like now that I've gotten to know people in the scene, I almost feel like I'm writing for like my comic friends in a way. It's like I know they're gonna be there, and there's like some inside jokes, or like you carry something over from like the last set, and so there's some little Easter eggs for people that have seen it. Oh, but man, you don't like. I've had times where I've been like, oh my god, this is gonna kill. The whole room's gonna find this funny, and then it's just a straight bomb, and you're just like, yeah. Like one of the last ones. I'm not even gonna do the bit. I'm just gonna give you the opening line. It was like I had a toothache last week, and at this time I actually had like this really bad toothache, which I forgot what those were like, and it's awful. But I was like, I had a toothache last week, and a toothache. There's a lot of similarities between my toothache and my ex-girlfriend, and I'm not going to go into the little puns after that. But when I was writing that, I was like, yes, this is going to be a good one, and then just crickets on stage. I was like, well. Yeah, we're gonna scratch that one.
Yeah.
I should probably head back to the restaurant,
for sure.
but
for sure, we're probably a little over. To finish off, if you were to leave your last piece of advice right now, what would that last piece of advice be?
Ooh. So is this like me like leaving the room or leaving the world?
Leaving the world.
Oh yeah. Be kind to others. So that's like that's probably where and I'm not always the kindest person, but I really do try to make an effort to be kind and care about other people in my life, and that feels really good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
And if you want to come find Alex, come over to Gray's in North Loop, go to Avocadish and say hi to Alex.
Promo code Vision 10.
Let's go. Free food.
Actually, if you come in, this has very low guarantee. Well, no, it has good guarantee. I'm there quite a bit, usually there in the evenings. If you go in and you bring up this podcast, you get a free bowl.
Dang.
How's that?
That's awesome.
We'll do it. You include it.
Let's go.
I know you. I said you're on the podcast. Yeah. No, done deal.
I appreciate it. Thank you, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for tuning into the podcast with Alex. If you enjoyed it, please send us a DM on Instagram at Behind the Vision Pod or at ever_north, or leave us a review, as we love to receive your feedback on the show. If you want to stay up to date on new podcasts and collection drops from Evernorth, check out evernorthco.com.